Hey, good morning, guys. Welcome to Life Online Daily Devotionals. I'm George Voles, youth pastor at Life Christian Fellowship. I want to share a verse with you as we start open. Proverbs 22, 1 through 2 reads, "A good name is more desirable than great riches. To be esteemed is better than silver or gold. Rich and poor have this in common. The Lord is maker of them all." And you may think you look at this verse and we're going to be talking about prosperity or how to get ahead. But no, that's not my aim at all today. Today I want to talk about integrity. Simple word, integrity, but it's a loaded word as well because integrity has a lot to do with our daily decisions. And we're going to be looking at what integrity means first off. Being the kind of person, among many things. Integrity is being the kind of person who does what's right, regardless of the outcome and regardless of who's around. And that may be a tough one because we may have a simple thing like finding a $20 bill and on the Acme checkout floor, and do you bring it to customer service? Do you keep it for wings for yourself that night, or do you wait around a minute and see if anyone comes back? But so some of the decisions that we have to make when it comes to integrity can have a lot more consequences weighing on it. Things that we feel that may better our situation or compromise it. So the big question is what to do when you don't know what to do. So we're going to look at Joseph real quick. And I'm taking one moment in Joseph's life. But really, Joseph has an incredible story. If you look at the book of Genesis, of just someone who, one of the youngest in his family, of 12 brothers. Him and his brother Benjamin are the two youngest. Shrouded in family drama. His brothers hate him because they're jealous of him because he's dad's favorite, Jacob's favorite. And they end up throwing him into a pit, selling him to some traders that are heading into Egypt, and tell his dad that he's been killed by a wild animal. And it's just this huge thing. So he's sold as a slave, but he ends up becoming, if you look at the end of the story, he becomes second to only Pharaoh in all of Egypt, and he saves and rescues his family from famine and pending death. But in the middle of that story, when he first arrives there in Egypt, it says that the Lord was with him, that God's favor was on him, and everything that he touched, God would bless and show his favor to Joseph. And Joseph became highly regarded as a servant in the household of Potiphar, which was an official of Pharaoh. Now, Joseph did what was right with God and trusted God with the outcome. But here we go. Here's a moment that I want to talk about of where integrity comes into play for Joseph. Genesis 39, 2 through 10. It says, "Now Joseph was a well-built and handsome man, and after a while his master's wife took notice of Joseph and said, 'Come to bed with me.' So apparently Joseph wasn't hard on the eyes, and his boss's wife starting getting a little close, and she says literally, 'Come to bed with me.' But he refused. 'With me in charge,' he told her, 'my master does not concern himself with anything in his house. Everything he owns he has entrusted to my care. No one is greater in this house than I am. My master has withheld nothing from me except you, because you are his wife. How then could I do such a wicked thing and sin against God?' And though she spoke to Joseph day after day, he refused to go to bed with her or even be with her." And if you see later in the story, if you read it for yourself, turns out her advances become more and more stronger. And she to the point where he just has to turn and run and flee from the situation. And that's a great thing. And maybe a lot of us in our moments of temptation, the simple thing we can do is just turn and run. However, I want you to take a look at this verse here, because that was a moment, like a boiling point for Joseph. But here he is, sold as a slave into Egypt, but yet he's in one of the best established places to be there. And not only that, but God has blessed him, and he's found favor with Potiphar to the point that everything in Potiphar's house and anything in his fields was blessed because of the decisions that Joseph has made to honor and serve him. And yet here he is, now in this position of compromise because he has to obey Potiphar's wife as well. However, when it comes to this ask of her, he's not willing to do that and sin against God with that. And but this day after day after day. So before that boiling point, there was something that was there that was a constant decision that he knew that he had to avoid that situation as best he could. And I don't know what it is for you. I don't know what your temptation is. I don't know what that thing is that's day after day that you have time to think about, and maybe it crowds your thinking and crowds your mind. And there's just decisions that we need to make on a daily basis. And we don't get to decide how things turn out. However, we do get to decide what kind of person we want to be. And in Joseph's case, I think he made the right decision. He wanted to be the kind of person that would honor God, that it would go well with him. And of course, that cushy job that he had was nothing compared to the plans that God had for him becoming number 2 only to Pharaoh. And in turn, the very brothers that betrayed him, he got to save them and their whole household. And when you don't know what to do, here's a good start. Do the next right thing. Blessings, guys. Thank you for joining me for this devotion. And check out that story of Joseph, Genesis. Incredible.